The streets want to know what's going on with Ja Morant, or as some people call him now, Ja Wick. If you don't know, you've been under a rock or something like that. Ja Morant has had a few incidents over the last couple of months, leading up to him flashing a little bitty gun, little bitty man in black gun on his IG live while at the strip club, presumably still in Denver. They had just played the Nuggets, and this has gotten him suspended from the Grizzlies. No one knows when he's actually going to come back. Potentially, he could be suspended for 50 games if they find out that he brought a gun on a team plane and to another state. The cops are investigating. All bad for Ja Wick. And like I said, this is not the first situation that has arose with Morant over the last couple of months or so. I think a lot of people saw him and his pops got into it with Shannon Sharp. You might have missed it where him and his friends were accused of pointing guns with laser sights at players and personnel on the Indiana Pacers. Recently, he's being sued by a 17-year-old who said that he beat him up at a pickup game and then flashed his gun, at him. So it's just a lot going on with Ja Morant. And people are confused. Well, I should say white people are confused. Say, why are they confused? Why are they confused? Well, Ja Morant comes from a two-parent home, a suburban lifestyle, has a $200 million contract, has endorsements with Nikes and others, and people just don't understand, why someone in such a position, a new face of the NBA, on a team that potentially can win an NBA title, currently the number 2 seed in the West, why is he acting like this? Well, I have the answer for you. If you ever seen any local rapper blow up, you know the answer to this. I don't know if this is still prevalent in elementary school, but when I went to elementary school, all the things that you would consider positives or good things, you were made fun of when I was in elementary school. You got good grades, you were smart, you were a nerd and you were a bully. You dress nice, you're Poindexter. Your parents were together, you were bougie. All these positive things, in retrospect, were looked down upon in the community. Now, I hope it's not like that now, but still. So what you have is when people blow up, so to speak, doesn't even matter what if they came from a good household, bad household. When they blow up, they feel this need to try to keep it real. You hear that a lot. I keep it real. I didn't forget where I came from. I never left. I never left. You hear that a lot, right? It's all BS. It really is. It's all BS. It truly is. It's all BS. The whole, I didn't forget where you don't have to forget. You don't have to be there. You know what I mean? You don't have to be physically there to not forget where you came from. And keeping it real is just being yourself, whoever you are. It's not being real to pretend to be something that you're not. Now, I don't know Ja's situation. I don't know what's going on in his head. I do know when, he first came onto the scene, he had a little snow bunny girlfriend. He wore his polos. Yeah, he has a daughter and everything. And then he got to Memphis. Now, I don't know if it's a product of his environment type of situation where he feels like, he has to be hard because he's from Memphis and that's kind of the Grizzlies personality and stuff, or he's just a guy that never really had this type of attention from women, from men, from fans, and he doesn't know how to handle it. There's a lot of different ways that you can look at it, but it's not unusual for the rapper who makes millions and but still feels like a connection that he has to keep certain people around, or he has to act, a certain way for his, persona. NBA YoungBoy is out in Utah now. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to stay. The whole point of life in general is to make it a better situation than what you started with. You started with $1, you want to make it to two. You make it for two, you want to make it to four. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's life. Life is about upward mobility, upward movement. And then once you get to a certain level, there are a million different ways to give back. There's a million different ways to not forget where you came from. None of those ways include just waving a gun at a strip club. Now, don't get me wrong, because you hear some people like Steven Jackson, right? Who's like 45 years old and still going to O Block and checking in with children. You see people like him, you see people like Paul Pierce say, you should keep that hammer on him. And something is not necessarily the gun per se. That's the problem. People use guns for protection all the time, but a gun is not a play toy. It's not something to be flashed on social media. It's not something to just, as anybody that's a gun owner will tell you, a responsible one is, if you pull your gun out, you got to be ready to use it. It's not for play. That's the problem. It's not, here's the thing, if he was using his gun responsibly, we would never hear about it. We would never know. I'm sure there's hundreds of athletes that legally possess firearms, but you don't hear about it because they're not on IG Live shirtless with the gun. Once again, I think Ja Morant is just having an early midlife crisis. He has all this attention, all of this fame. He has people around him. He has all of this money. Everybody's going to do exactly what he says. I don't know what's going on with his pops. Say what you want about LeVar Ball, but his boys don't act like this. When your pops is, it's the old Puff Daddy thing. It's do you want your executive producer all up in the video? It's one thing to come to the game, support your son and all of that stuff. But when you become a part of the story, are you helping or are you hurting? Now he's young. He's not a kid. He's an adult. He makes the decisions for himself. And I don't know what stresses or mental health issues, if he has any. He could just be like this. This could have been in him the whole time, and he just couldn't act on it because he didn't have the money or the influence that he does now. But the situation is this, and I want to be very, very clear about this before I leave you. Nipsey Hussle was shot, killed outside of his own store in the hood, doing stuff for his own people. Young Dolph was killed in Memphis, where he's beloved, getting cookies for his mom. There are people out there that don't care. They don't care how much you give back. They don't care how real you are. They don't care how many points you score, how many assists that you have. If you keep trying people, you got to watch out, because that little gun is not going to do anything when someone really, really steps up on you. So we're talking about life and death right here. And no one wants to wake up with the headline about Ja Morant that's like a Nipsey Hussle or a young Dolph or a lot of others that have come before.